Ah, look at that. Here we go. And we are already on here as well, too, with the, what are we with here? We're with the Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Investing series number 186 on a Freedom Friday. Yay! 2000, October, what is this? No, this is November. I got the wrong calendar up. It's November 6th, isn't it? Yeah, November 6th, 2015. Freedom Friday, Action Day, lots of fun, and gosh, welcome everybody to the hangout. Having a good time here. Hey, John, how's it going? You got to excuse me 1 second though, because we just transferred, boom, boom, like that from one hangout to the next, and I need a quick break.
Oh, darn, because I was about to jump up and take a quick break myself there. Welcome to the hangout, everybody. As you know, I'm John Leister, my business partner, Paul Romero, with the Sell a House Arizona team. I've been wholesaling successfully in Maricopa County, which is Phoenix, Arizona, pretty much is the main city here in the county that most people will know and recognize. And we are doing these hangouts each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, bringing you great information about mindset, about real estate, tips and tricks of the trade. So with that, today is Freedom Friday. This is a day where we just kind of mainly discuss and kind of wrap up what we've talked about throughout the week. And we discuss kind of mindset and how important a positive mindset is. And I'm sitting here at my desk this morning after the last hangout with Paul, and just looking around at some of the items I have sitting right next to me and thinking about, you know, where I came from to where I am today and what kind of set me off on my path to change what was going on in my life. And we kind of ended our last hangout talking about a comment that that Paul's wife sometimes make to him about this personal development stuff that he's interested in and listening to daily and implementing into his own life as a form of brainwashing. And I got to thinking about how when I was 33 years old, you know, in August of that year, May of that year, my second kid was born. My daughter was born. It was kind of an emergency C-section, emergency situation. So it left my wife sick and my child in the hospital for 7-8 weeks. And at that time, you know, I was 33. I had no money in the bank. My second kid, a sick wife, and a failing business. And, you know, everything obviously I've done for the first 33 years in my life as a result of my education, is a result of my programming. And my results flat out sucked balls, to be quite honest with you. And I realized at that point that I needed to think different. I needed to wash my brain. I needed to reprogram. And how that happened, really, believe it or not, is I just started to open myself up to the idea that there's something out there. There's something that I don't know. And, you know, I still have that paint business, which is today more successful than it was in 2011. Still has some bugs to be ironed out that will be ironed out. But that was kind of a catalyst for me. And really what turned me around is I went to it's going to sound funny to a lot of people, but I went and I spent a lot of money on a Rich Dad, Poor Dad seminar. And a lot of people will ask me, do you think like you wasted the money? And for me, say no. But for some people, yeah, going to a seminar and spending thousands of dollars for them might be a waste of money, because if you don't take the knowledge and apply it into your life and apply it to your business, then it is a waste of money. But if you have the intention to follow through and do everything you can with that information to have success monetarily or physically or spiritually or whatever it is that you're going for, it is worth the investment. And just looking around and saying, you know, some of those things that kind of contributed to my success is just the fact that I was awakened to the idea that I could be doing something wrong, and it's not the economy's fault, and it's not who the president of the United States fault. Hell, you know what? My parents weren't A lot of my program comes from the fact that they taught me their way of thinking, which isn't what is bringing people riches and success in this world. But I can't even blame them, because you know what? I'm an adult now. So when you have this realization, the only person left to blame at the end of the day, if you don't start making better choices and turning your life around, the only person that you really can blame at that point is yourself, and taking responsibility. And that's kind of my thinking this morning here on how powerful a subject this is. And really, just to throw in, it isn't so easy to change who you are, and it doesn't happen overnight, and it requires work. Going out and even thinking about the people you're hanging out with. Who are your friends? Who have you been listening to all these years? And really, it takes a dedication to just about changing every aspect of your life, because you have the results in your life right now that you were programmed to have. And the friends you surround yourself with are programming you. The type of television shows you're watching program you. The education you have programmed you. Your parents and family have programmed you. And you have to consciously reprogram yourself. And if someone, along your path says, oh man, all that Anthony Robbins or that Robert Kiyosaki and all that self-help stuff is a bunch of hooey and a bunch of rah-rah and a bunch of crap, and why are you letting yourself be brainwashed by that? I'll let Paul give you the answer to that one.
What year did you say the shit hit the fan, for lack of a better term for you?
In 2011.
2011. Okay, so that was like 3 years after the crash. Very interesting, because I actually, let me start here. Napoleon Hill actually kind of puts this in, I forget if it's in Think and Grow Rich, or if it's in the 16 Laws of Success, but he talks about how most people don't see the problems and won't make the change until something drastic, something dramatic, some massive tragedy or something like that happens in their lives that forces them into a position of having to do things differently from what they've been doing their entire life. An accident of some sort, a physical impairment, things like that. He talks about, somebody who, something happened, an accident or something, and the guy was physically unable to, he was paralyzed or whatever. But after this happens, then the guy, starts, instead of using his physical body and doing the same things he's done all his life, starts using his brain and his mind, and concocts through his family and friends a hugely prosperous sausage making business or whatever the heck it was. So it's sad that it does really take, for most people, a massively dramatic, unfortunate circumstance to happen to trigger, the whole idea of, wow, I got to do something different. I don't understand how people don't just look around one day and say, wow, I did this in 1995. Actually, was it 95? No, I'm sorry, 2005. About 10 years prior to where John kind of did his thing there. But I looked around one day, 45 years old. I looked around and I said, you know what, Paul, you ain't got jack squat. Other people look at you and they're looking at your life, and it looks like, you have a good job, you're successful, you've got a house, but the thing is like, it was all like a I don't know, like a big sheet over the top of a giant pit. And in 2008, the rug got pulled out from under me, and the next thing I know, I'm looking up out of this pit, just totally freaking in the hole, big time. But you know what? I actually blame the crash for my success, because if it wasn't for the crash, because the period of time prior to the crash, I had kind of, had that that I had kind of had that aha moment of I don't have jack squat, and I need to really kind of start doing something different in my life if I ever want to, if I don't want to die with a shovel in my hand one day. That was that's the thing that I was, slinging asphalt. That was kind of my mantra. I don't want to die with a shovel in my hand one day, and that's where I would have ended up being, exactly right there. But I probably would have given up if it wasn't for the crash, and I had that job, that security blanket of that job, and things didn't, go south the way they did. I probably would have, continued half-heartedly, more really half-assedly, going after the pursuit of something new and different, and probably never would have had any kind of success whatsoever at it. Probably would have given up and fallen back to the security blanket of my, slinging asphalt job, and probably would have ended up dying with a shovel in my hand. But it was actually the crash and the, almost the forced, hey, you thought you needed to do something? Well, now you better freaking do something, that sort of probably got me off my tail and really, really just forced me in a direction that I knew I wanted to go, but really wasn't giving it an effort to go towards. So, yeah, I mean, it took a major tragedy in my life to really direct somebody to really direct me in that direction, with a passion and a desire to actually get where I really wanted to go, instead of half-heartedly doing it. So it's really kind of interesting how, you can go out there and you can tell people that, hey, listen, there's a better way. You can, there's more to life than what you're doing. And they just won't get it. It's like, I don't understand why we have to wait for something massively, dramatically bad to happen to us before we can actually, flip that switch and go, I want more and I'm going to go get it. And that's really all it takes, is just that right there, and to build that desire and go get it.
As we were talking about in our last we were talking about kind of network marketing being a tool or a way for people to have some more income in their lives, and how powerful network marketing can be. We had talked about how it is simple, but it's not easy. It's the idea is quite simple. To grasp the knowledge and the power behind it is quite simple. But then when it comes to implementation, that's what's challenging for most people. For everybody, it's a challenge. And most people look at challenges with disdain and loathing, rather than embracing a challenge as an opportunity to grow, to better themselves and better their lives. And the reason I bring that up is because wholesale real estate offers people a vehicle to make, really, I can't even explain or put into words in a 30-minute hangout how unbelievably powerful getting into wholesale real estate has been in my life, because it opened my eyes up to how business is done in real estate. But quite frankly, if you could learn wholesale real estate and all the necessary components behind creating and running a successful wholesale business, from this ground up, negotiating and working with people, element number one of importance, because that skill and to influence and to be good with people is learnable. And it is actually, in my opinion, almost the cornerstone to all other areas of success in your life. Success with your children, success with your spouse, success with buying a car, or anything where you're dealing with another salesman, success in being a salesman. It's your ability to connect with people. That, to me, is one of the cornerstones of wholesale real estate, but it's a cornerstone to everything that you're going to do in your life. And when you come on board to a successful wholesale organization, I feel like one of the first things that should really be taught and driven home to new noodlers is how this wholesale business is about sales and marketing more so than it is about the real estate. Because if we're out there trying to get deals, we're trying to get deals from people. So we're selling our services and marketing those services. But sales and marketing, it's psychology 101. It's dealing with understanding people. That's just one element of wholesale real estate. But then there is the whole side of it that is the real estate, which is just as important and vast to learn. How to get properties contracted and through title. But then it also teaches you about your market, right? Because now you're reselling the properties, and there's so many elements. And at the end of the day, you know, when you do this for a while, you wake up one day and you have this aha moment that, oh my God, wholesaling real estate is the same as breathing air. I don't know how to explain my feeling here. What we do to have a successful wholesale real estate business is what everybody does in every business they're in to have a successful business. And it's just, for me, it's a simple business to get started. I didn't say easy. There's a big determination there between, you know, it's simple because the system's been created, it's been done, it's been proven, people are out there doing it. You just got to kind of plug in, be open, learn something new, and follow the instructions. The challenging part is, are you going to be open, learn, listen, and apply the knowledge and go out there and do something about it? That's the challenging part for most people, not what the actual nuts and bolts are. But you know, the point I'm trying to make is that wholesale real estate, just like network marketing, are just vehicles to achieve something better than an hourly job. And the reason I'm so big on real estate is because I think it is where anybody with little to no money can make large chunks of money and see how money operates, see how psychology operates, find out how negotiating operates, sales, marketing. There's so many things that you can learn through doing this business. And there's a lot of people willing to share that with you. Paul and I willing to share that with anybody who wants to join the team and take them through the process and show them how this can be something that you can have a lot of success with. And then maybe you realize wholesaling real estate isn't for me, but all these skills I learned, I can now apply to my definite major purpose, which is the widget business. I don't know. I'm just saying. But the skills you can learn with wholesaling and working with Paul and I can be applied to every single area of your life for better and greater success.
I will say that, you know, depends on sort of the organization that you get into, because, you know, because seriously, I mean, how much did the rich dad teach you that it was all about sales and marketing? And how much did the rich dad teach you that it's just, you know, it's, you know what I mean? Was that element in that training?
Actually, it was. I'll be honest with you. They didn't. I went to a 3-day seminar, which was about real estate. And that only came after I went to like a 2-hour seminar that was free, which was really to sell you on this one.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Standard. But there was a few things during that 3-day weekend which really were like aha moments for me, when basically they went over how to wholesale a contract, the nuts and bolts, how it looks. Then they kind of overviewed everything, you know, how to build a rental portfolio and kind of teach you how to evaluate properties and numbers. And they went over to, okay, fix and flip, and how to kind of look at budgets and saying, you know, if you've already got money and you want to invest and you don't want to really start a sales and marketing type of organization, you might want to look at rehabbers. But you want to understand that in your market, you got to find these wholesaler guys we've been teaching you about, fix and flip guys too. And you can buy off the MLS, the REOs, yada, yada, yada. So I had gone with my business partner from the paint business, Dan, and we heard about wholesaling. And like I said, I ended up here because I was 33 years old with $0 in the bank account and 2 kids and a sick wife who didn't have a job, and our business was failing. I didn't have any money. So when I heard how to wholesale a contract, it was like I could hear the angels cry, bro. They're like, oh, and I look over at Dan and we make eye contact and we're like, okay.
Really? You can do that?
You can do that? And immediately our question was, okay, we'll sign up for the further education. We ended up signing up for a software program that helped you evaluate houses and stuff like that. And we also signed up for another like 3 days a week for like 3 weeks or something, live training webinar with like textbooks and classes. And what I'm getting at is before we paid for that, we sat down because they did talk about marketing to find motivated sellers. You got to market to find motivated sellers, you know, look in probate. So they mentioned it. But Dan and I, either they didn't stress it or we weren't in the mindset I'm in now. We're like, okay, marketing. What we even asked before when we sat down, what do you mean marketing? And the lady kind of looked at us confused, like, you know, you got to like send out letters and do something to attract motivated sellers to give you a call and, you know, sell you the product. You got to find these people. And they kind of went over little ways to find it. But we were still too focused on the learning about the contracts and comping the properties and like hung up on, okay, when a seller calls, what do I do? How am I going to get this contract signed? Worried more about the how to than, but we put it into action.
That was the point of my question right there. Okay, I mean, you said yes at first, but you didn't tell me when or where they taught you anything about sales and marketing. Not a dang thing. So that's what I'm saying about, you know, what organization are you joining and what education are you getting? You know, John mentioned, you know, coming on board with us and, you know, doing the sales and marketing, and that's, you know, where our focus is. When you start with, you know, the Property Noodler system here is that, you know, forget about all that how-to. Forget about the comping properties. Forget about the, you know, how to fill out a contract. Forget about, you know, all of that stuff. Forget about sending out the marketing even. Our whole system is all about, you know what? Learn how to do the sales and marketing. Learn how to interact with the people. Learn how to get out there and talk with the people. Because as John said earlier, you're not walking up to a house and saying, hey, I'm going to buy you today. That's not how it works. You're walking up to a person, to another human being. You have to interact with that person. When you said that, a very interesting thing came to mind. Real estate agents, eliminate that for people. They're like a buffer. It's like, I don't have to actually talk to the person that I'm buying this house from. This real estate agent is going to go do that for me. You know what I mean? They take that personal one-on-one human element out of it. Wholesale real estate is all about that. You have to be, because we don't go through realtors to get deals. Well, there's a bunch of wholesalers out there that get their deals off the MLS, but are they making freaking big bucks off them? No, they're squeezing out a few pennies here and there, flipping these deals that aren't really deals. The true wholesaler, the successful wholesaler, goes direct to the source, goes right to the people, goes to the owner of the property and has to negotiate with another human being. So what I'm talking about with the different programs, what you better be looking, you know, what you want to look for is, you know, hey, do I need education about how this works? I'm not poo-pooing Rich Dad. You've got a lot of good education in there about, you know, how the whole thing works. And if you're doing this by yourself, you know, if you're starting this out by yourself, you need that knowledge. You got to kind of have an overview of, you know, what this whole thing is all about, how to get from point A to point Z. But never in there, you know, in the A and the B and the C and the D and the A and the F and the G. And when they get to the S and the M, just kind of like, you know, oh, well, you know, you got to do this, you got to do this, but here's what you really want to know, you know. So that's, like I said, the Property Noodler program is all about, you know what, where's the heart of wholesaling? The heart of wholesaling is human interaction. And that's what we're all about. That's what our system's all about. That's where we take you. And you know what? you start with the human interaction. You start actually figuring out how to talk to people about, you know, what kind of situations they're in. You start learning about the sales and marketing, the unique selling proposition that sets you apart from the competition, and why you're here and in front of that person from a different angle than everybody else in town is, and why all of a sudden you're the one getting the deal instead of those guys. That's where success is, you know, covered up under that rock John spoke of. That's where the success is hidden. You know, that's the rock you need to turn over, but that's the rock that everybody just kind of skips over.
Right. You know, and Paul's and I, you know, I just want to point out the difference between Paul and I's approach as opposed to a lot of the other very good wholesale companies, very good investments that do kind of a similar thing. There's a couple other people in the Valley, and I'm referring to, you know, Phoenix, Maricopa County, the Valley here. There's a couple other people kind of doing something similar to what Paul and I are doing. But what Paul and I are doing that's a little bit different is I think we're starting off the system with the part that's most important, and that's showing people what it actually takes to go out there and make money wholesaling, the human interaction, the marketing, and the attracting of those people. Because if you don't have product, if you don't have inventory, then you have nothing to sell. And there's a lot of other programs out there that are that teach you slightly different ways to get started by what do they call that? Wholetailing or co-wholesaling or bird dogging. And you know what? Those things work. But do you want to make, you know, squeeze pennies out of something, or do you want to ring out $100 bills? I think, you know, I think the answer to that's obvious. And that's where Paul and I system is a little different is we'll show you those ways to make the quick little checks by, you know, co-wholesaling a deal, because we'll give you the opportunity to co-wholesale all the deals we're finding. But what our approach really is for people is to get you out there finding the deals, because the money is made on the acquisition of the property. We know our market. We know what the buyers are going to pay for them. Therefore, when we go and we meet with a seller and we're negotiating a seller, the power lies with what kind of discount can we get on that property? What's the best price we can negotiate with this seller that they feel that they are walking away a winner, and we're walking away a winner as well. So that's kind of our approach.
I think I can lump up the difference like this. Do you want something where we say, hey, here's a whole bunch of information. Go learn it, go do it, and call me when you got a deal, okay? Or do you want somebody that says, hey, come with me. Come, let's go get a deal together, and let me show you how this works. And that's pretty much the difference right there. You know, that's, you know, so I mean, if you're that person who can take all that information and filter through it and go out there and do it, hey man, good on you. Go get it, make it happen. But if you're not that person, which I would venture to say that most people are not, would you prefer to have somebody say, hey man, come on, let's go. We'll go get a deal together and you'll see how this happens. That's what our system is.
Yep. All right. Well, shoot. I mean, it's already 10 o'clock on a Freedom Friday. So I have some big plans to go out there and help people create freedom for other people by teaching them wholesale real estate. That's going to be my mission today.
Well, yeah, we're taking, I know two. I don't know if our third person gave us a call or not, but I know we're taking two people today and saying, hey, come on, let's go get a deal. All righty, guys. Well, you know what? Unless you got something more, John, I'm just going to say, everybody, use the bean. And you know, and seriously consider, look, I mean, if you're looking to become a successful wholesale real estate investor, and you're looking towards, you know, finding help and information and assistance and all of that, really look at what you're getting and really look at the fact of the sales and marketing aspect of it, and where is it in my information here, and understand, like John and I always like to say, Wholesale real estate has absolutely nothing to do with real estate. It's all about sales and marketing. So if you want to be successful at it, put a lot of your focus into that area of self-development and making yourself a better, marketer and salesperson in order to really achieve success. Doing it from your couch, you might be able to do it through your MLS and your real estate agent and all those things. You might be able to, pluck some deals off the MLS where you can take them, get them locked up from people and turn around and sell them out to your buyers list and make about $1,000 or $2 off of a deal, or you can figure out how to do it the right way and get out there and negotiate with people and get deals where you can make 10,000 or two off your deals instead of 1,000 or two off your deals.
Put it this way. You're all that time spent making those offers on MLS, looking at those properties, comping them, making those blanket offers. Then you get it under contract. And then the time you're going to spend finding a buyer to buy it because it's going to be overpriced. It's not going to be a good deal.
And you only got a 10-day window off that too, because that's all your inspection period is.
Yep, and you got 10 days. And you're starting this business out and you have no intention of closing on this property yourself, because I've seen it. Most of the guys that are hawking MLS garbage to me end up not closing those deals anyway. So they get a reputation with agents and brokers as people who don't close deals. And that's a bad reputation to get. And you do not want that reputation because, believe it or not, in a city of like 5 million like Phoenix, I know just about every wholesaler because there's probably only 30 successful ones in a city of 5 million people. And then there's your onesie, twosie guys. And then there's those guys that get off the MLS. And as Paul said, that's a lot, that's a lot of effort to make $1,000 to $3,000 commission off of a property. I know, Paul and I's average off of a deal is over 20 grand. It's very rare that we're making less than 20 grand on a wholesale flip because we know how to find deals.
And it's not just popping them off the MLS either. I mean, for most people who are doing this, there's very few guys out there who are willing to, really cut into, creating a large deal, because they're just, they did their marketing, right? But they're not salespeople. So when it comes time to actually be talking to the people and making their offer, they're got that, well, how about I can give you this much money, blah, blah, blah. And you're not, I mean, you've done your math, you figured it all out. You did what what you were taught to do. You took X amount and subtracted this and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, but if you don't have the confidence to give that offer, but knowing that, hey, I'm here to do you a service and I have the ability to, follow through with what I'm saying. And this is where, this is where it works out because of the situation or whatever. If you don't have the confidence going in there, your seller's gonna read right through you and see that and go with the next guy who might not even be offering them as much as you, but they just didn't get that vibe from you.
Yeah.
Because you didn't study the sales and marketing aspect of it. You might know the numbers, you might know the how-to, but it's that human interaction. It's that people. It's how you portray yourself and carry yourself and present yourself, and how you interact with that other, how you draw out of that other person, the things that are going to make them, trust you to be the one who can help them.
Absolutely. Paul, I see we're kind of running out of time. You've basically summed up my final thoughts there. So why don't you go ahead and close this out with the Napoleon Hill prayer?
O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom, with which to create better use of the riches given to me at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I might desire. And that would be successful sales and marketing wholesaler wonderfulness. So with that, everybody, excuse me, have a great 2-day session here and prepare yourself for a fantastic new op day where we will be back here with the, what's his name? And Dale Dale Carnegie's. I wanted to get the steel mogul there, but no, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And hey, how to win friends. What were we talking about here today, John? How to win friends and influence people. What does that have anything to do with what we were talking about?
Everything to do with what we're talking about.
All right, everybody. See you on New Up.